Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Am I the Jerk? Our first post is by 2am Tears. Am I the jerk for telling my cousin the only reason she's made it this far is because everyone else has carried her? I, F24, have a cousin, F27, who is a single mom with a 3-year-old daughter. We both have fibromyalgia, except she gets disability for it and has never worked a day in her life. I have not tried to apply for disability, as I want to work until I can't. She won't even work an office desk job and plays up her disability to anyone who will listen. She also has government housing and discounted utility bills. She uses WIC and EBT, which are benefit programs. I have seen her do very physical tasks, so I know if she wanted to, she could. I was talking to her the other day about how I couldn't help her with her light bill this time because I was running dry on my own money, and she got upset saying, "I don't understand how you work so much but never have any money. I'm able to afford rent and food, and I have a child, but you don't even have a child. So where's your money going? I think you just are overspending. If I'm able to make it work, you should be too." So I blew up on her and told her, the only reason you're able to make it work is because everyone carries your butt. You're on government assistance for everything. You are capable of working, but won't, and you have me and other people in the family pay for the bills you can't afford. How many times have I paid your phone bill? Your electric? How about water? Or putting gas in your car? You do practically nothing to improve your life. You just moan about money until someone gives in and gives it to you. She got angry and said she was just trying to help because clearly I'm not managing my money right or I'd have enough. And I said, "You're only concerned about me having enough so I can support your lazy butt." And she told me to leave. Everyone else said I was being too harsh, but I think it was justified because how is she going to criticize me about my money when she doesn't even do anything for her own money? He who is person writes in the comments, so justified that it has to be not the jerk. If she's able to raise a 3-year-old daughter without at-home assistance, she cannot be so racked by fibro that there are no jobs she can do. It definitely causes things like pain and exhaustion. But yeah, that. And what she said was extremely entitled and insulting. Our next post is by Formal Grocery. Am I the jerk for demanding my cousin reimburse me for her kids? So I, 24M, am a Dragon Ball fan. It's something I've loved since I was a child, and I bought some merchandise over the years. Basically, I had a shelf in my room with some figures, some sets of Dragon Balls, and a Goku drawing I worked really hard on. My cousin, 33F, comes over unannounced today with her 3 kids, 15M, 16F, and 14F. Now I love my cousin and her kids. I don't mind them stopping by even when I'm not there. My cousin's been like an older sister mother to me all of my life. She told me they stopped by my place because the kids wanted to see me. I let her know I'll be back in a few minutes. I had just left to go buy some groceries. I return home, put my groceries up, and speak with her and the kids. All is going well until the 14-year-old asks me for some money. I deny her request, as I don't get paid for another week, and nothing special is happening, so I'm not just out here giving money away. She gets infuriated and says I let her down. And yada yada, it's whatever to me, and we chill for a few hours and they leave. That was yesterday. I come home from work today and get a text from the 16-year-old saying, "I'm sorry, uncle, she just said she left something there. I'm mainly relaxed since she has a habit of leaving things, and I go to my room. My shelf is annihilated. Everything is thrown down and broken. All the figures are missing body parts. My Dragon Balls are broken, and that drawing I spent 3 months on finishing is cut to shreds. And some of my hoodies and shirts are gone. My Capsule Corp hat is gone." I broke down crying and called their mom. I tell her I need her key back and tell her what her daughter did. I then let her know she owes me about $1,500 over this, and this is me being generous. I've spent well over $3,000 on this whole thing, but I needed something back for this. She tells me she'll give me the key, but I'll be seeing no money from this. I tell her it's her responsibility since they are her kids, and she also just leaves the key open and in the world when I said it's meant for her, not her whole family. She said she didn't care, and I'm not getting any money, that's it. I've banned her from my house until she pays me, and she says so be it, and refuses to pay me, saying it's my fault for not locking my game room door. That door doesn't even have a lock. To whom it may concern writes in the comments, "Not the jerk. File a police report and report the loss to your insurance. If you don't have insurance, get it for future losses. A kid doesn't get money for no reason and then destroys a ton of property and steals your stuff. That kid needs help. Your cousin isn't doing them any favors. For F's sake, this is an infuriating story. Edit. The 16-year-old helped the 14-year-old destroy and steal your property. Their mother doesn't care. She won't even partially reimburse you or hold her children accountable for their crime." Regarding the children involved, it's clear that their behavior is problematic, and if their mother is turning a blind eye to their behavior, your primary concern should be for your own safety and well-being. Involving the appropriate authorities or professionals may be necessary to protect your rights and property. This may even be beneficial for the children to find out early that there are consequences to their actions. Our next post is by Lucky Grass. Am I the jerk for giving my son non-vegan food behind my wife's back? I am 32M, and my wife is 33F. We have been married for 8 years and have a 12-year-old son together. About 6 years ago, my wife decided to go vegan. She was sent the documentary Dominion by a vegan friend of hers, and ever since has said non-vegan food is revolting and refuses to eat it. After a long conversation, I agreed to go vegetarian and be vegan in the house and around her, which she was happy with. She also decided our son should be vegan, which, after seeing a dietitian, I also agreed with. Things have been fine with this arrangement, until a few months ago when I began finding wrappers from non-vegan candy, and even burgers from McDonald's in my son's school bag, which he had been buying with chore money. I had a conversation with my son, and he confessed he felt lonely and excluded eating vegan around his friends, and that they always had much better candy than he did, and it wasn't fair. I decided I didn't want him spending his pocket money on snacks and throwing out the vegan snacks we actually brought him instead of buying games, etc. It made no sense, but I also know the way my wife feels about non-vegan products, so I began buying my son what he wanted on our way to football practice instead. Long story short, my wife recently found out what has been going on and completely flipped out. She called me an animal abuse enabler and a few other names and said I was corrupting our son. Now she is not speaking to me. Our son panicked and told her I had bought the snacks for him and he didn't know they weren't vegan. I don't blame him for that. He just doesn't want to be in trouble with mom. Am I the jerk here? Seeking Besker writes, I think my answer at this point would be, our son is old enough to decide what he wants to eat and what his dietary preferences are. If we put him into a situation where he feels he has to hide things from us, that's on us. If your wife is confronting him about this in any kind of intimidating way or trying to make him feel guilty with the same phrases she's using with you, I would prioritize your son and his needs and well-being. Stuff like this can cause a lot of problems. Cynically Sin also writes, I think we're also forgetting this is a 12-year-old boy. Anybody who has spent time around a growing boy knows that they eat non-stop. Literally, they can eat an entire roasted chicken in a day and still be looking for food. I know plenty of kids are vegetarian and fine, but that's because they choose to be. Having a kid walking around feeling hungry and unsatisfied all the time is borderline abuse, and I'm saying this as a vegetarian of 15 years who fights for animal rights. Our next post is by Cold Range. Am I the jerk for saying that I am not available as a babysitter for my grandson and that my daughter will have to pay daycare expenses? My daughter, 26F, was abandoned by her husband when my grandson was 3 months old. Since she couldn't support herself, I let her move into my house. I, 56F, have a hectic routine where I do my things, work, gym, etc., until 5 p.m., and from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. I stay with my grandson until my daughter arrives. Currently, to help my daughter, I pay the expenses at home, and she pays for daycare and the baby's things, diapers, formula, etc. And there's still plenty left for her to save up to eventually move. I decided that I would take a month off next month to rest, without necessarily traveling. When my daughter found out about the vacation, she talked about the possibility of saving money on daycare to save up to move since I could stay with my grandson. I immediately said no, as it is my rest, and taking care of a child for 6 hours, 5 days, and 2 hours at night is not in my plans, but that I could help in the morning so she can rest, but the afternoon was out of the question. My grandson stays in daycare on afternoon. She started crying, saying that she was trying to gain independence and eventually move out, but that being a single mother was so hard, and I wasn't making it any easier. Basically, she begged me to at least stay another 3 hours, but I stuck to what I said. I really want to rest, and a 14-month-old baby who is walking and curious, I know I won't get that rest, but I can't help but feel guilty about my daughter's situation. I love my grandson, but it is also my rest. Am I the jerk? Jazz-like humor writes, "Not the jerk if she takes her child out of daycare for a month. The spot will be filled by someone else, and she won't have daycare at all. The daycare provider obviously can't afford to just hold the space open for her for a month without pay. They need to cover their own expenses. Has she taken her husband to court for child support? That needs to be done ASAP. It will do more for her long-term finances supporting her child than loosing daycare to try to save 1 month's daycare cost." Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.